go from hitting challengers at mid laner at the age of 15 to now playing support in Academy at the age of 18? Well, let me introduce you to Busio.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like Rise is like really good.
Originally, I'm from Washington State, and I grew up there my entire life. I think I started playing the game in season 1 or 2 when I was maybe 7 or 8. I always cared a lot about my rank, even when I was younger. I always wanted to climb and get to Diamond. My parents were always pretty respectful of, like, when I'm in a rank game, I can't be distracted. And of course, they always would like allow me to play amateur games, even miss friends and family events for my amateur games. So that support system was pretty good. I originally chose mid lane, probably because of the champions that are there, like very mobile champs like Katarina, other champs such as the Blanc, and even control mages like Syndra, Ori, Cassio, Zoe. Those types of champs were also really fun for me at the start, just because of how mechanically intensive they were.
Over the wall, finishing the kill, Busio C and Polar Ace. They're doing so well.
On Polar Ace, I was surrounded by 4 team members that were obviously way better and more experienced than me. And definitely my biggest takeaway from Polar Ace was just to be confident and not really be nervous when playing in important matches.
But it might be too late. It's not! Busio just pops off in that team fight, waiting for the cooldown.
Especially in amateur, a lot of the matches, if you lose, you're out, especially in OQs or further down in playoffs. And it was just important to play confident and play like you do in scrims. And I didn't necessarily do that all the time, so that's why I wasn't that successful on Polar Ace, but it was a good takeaway. What I like about League is definitely how many different champions there are, strategies, and how you can beat your opponent with that. Like, I like to get creative, different room pages, different play styles, different champions. And the most fun part about League is definitely just the depth that all of that brings.
Too far forward, has to flash away, the knockup lands, Spawn's in trouble, a double kill to Busio.
Hey guys, Papa Smithy here. Really excited for what feels like the first time in a while to share an off-season update.
For the support role swap, Chris, Papa Smithy, came to me with the opportunity. And obviously it wasn't an instant, yeah, I want to swap. I like the role, I like the champions, and I just came off my Polar Ace split, so that was a good experience, and I wanted to keep playing mid. My opinion on supports were, they're old, they're there for macro, they're not really good mechanically or anything, and they just play engaged supports. But after learning about Carrier and seeing that support actually has a lot of unexplored depth to the role, like with the champions you can play, the room pages you can take, even just your role in the game, it can vary a lot, and I found a lot of interest in trying to explore that part of support that really hasn't been previously explored that much.
You know what's funny? I always talk about this whenever like I speak to Busio about like certain champion picks, because I always remember him playing like an absolute psychopath when like we played in scrims. Like our scrims were always like FFs every single game, and he was always playing some freaky stuff, you know? Like it was always the Senna X anything, you know? Like that's the one thing we were like afraid of when we were scrimming like 100 X, like compared to other teams. It would be like Senna and any champion that exists in the entire roster that was like a potential.
It felt pretty good to join 100 Thieves because previously on Polar Ace, of course, I looked up to 100 Next. And then once I was actually on it, I realized how many more resources there were with being able to talk to LCS and LCS Academy coaches and all their databases and pro scrims and pro views. It was really helpful to improve with that. And then, of course, the motivation that comes with how more accessible a promotion to Academy is once you're already within the 100 Thieves ecosystem. Yeah, it definitely felt bad to have to leave my team. So that was when our team was starting to actually finally come together, because previously 100X was not doing good at all. And I finally had hope, and it felt pretty bad to leave my team, and also I wanted to compete in that tournament. But in the long run, it's pretty good, because now I'm on 100 Academy, so it was probably worth it, but felt bad short term.
Just eliminated his bot lane.
Previously, of course, being an amateur, I thought the Academy players were just gods, but now that I'm here, I realized Academy players are just amateur players with a little more experience, and that makes sense.
Cannot Busio will take him down.
It's pretty surreal to actually finally be here in person with the team, because I knew it was coming for a long time, especially once I got signed to Academy. But it was so far away, I still had to graduate school. And now that I'm finally here, I'm just really happy that all I need to focus on is League and being the best I can. I don't have any other outside responsibilities. And now just being able to play as much solo queue, scrim as much as I can is really helpful. I definitely want to be one of the top supports in Academy. I think it's pretty possible if I keep focusing on my weaknesses, because I definitely have some inconsistencies with my knowledge of matchups, but if I can keep 2v2ing, and with the addition of Champions Queue, I can meet all these different pros and see their perspective in the game, and then taking that to scrims with me, learning a bunch of new tech, and also what's helpful in comms and what isn't helpful, because in Champions Queue, there's a lot of unnecessary comms. And realizing how damaging that is can definitely help me in scrims, because I definitely do have some excessive comms in situations.
Bro, this is why we warm up on set, am I right?
Having high quality games where everyone's trying means I can test 2v2 matchups in a really good way. I just need to keep getting that experience up and getting my consistency down, and then I can keep progressing in my career. In 3 years, I definitely think I'll be in the LCS if I continue with the mentality and progression I have right now. And in 2025, I think I'll be at Worlds, because I know I want to be at Worlds, so if I put my mind to it, I can do it.
Welcome on back, everyone, here after our halftime show there, getting to see a little bit more detail of Busio, but it is right back to what we all came for. Golden Guardians Academy versus 100 Thieves Academy. Golden Guardians smashed at least the end of game number 1.
Yeah. I mean, that last fight, there were a couple things that could have drastically changed, and we saw like Busio's hook barely missing out on locking down Ryoma, but instead ending up hitting a wall. And so there's small things in a League of Legends game that can drastically change how it goes one way or another. But overall, I mean, Golden Guardians, with all the trades that they made early on, they took control of a couple of key fights. And again, Chime, I can't praise this guy enough for like how well, right? Like often, like he's been having a great split overall, but it's very rare that it is this painfully obvious that everything that Golden Guardians did this game was centered around this guy.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And not having the 100% KP, but getting darn close to it. I know Tim7 Houston was shouting him out on Twitter as the best support in Academy here in the spring split. It is impressive to see this guy's track record and see that he has made a name for himself in this spring split of Academy, and being able to represent on a level where, you know, it's been talked about so many times before what the level of Academy supports, but in general NA supports, we do have a strong stable of supports in our talent pool. So getting to see yet another name added to the list makes me oh so happy.
Yeah, and we know that like he has had an opportunity to play with Golden Guardians in 2021, where he did all right. He played with Dignitas a long time before, and so there's plenty of opportunities for this guy to continue making up. He's been kind of bouncing up and down, and I think, you know, just like with Dokla, another one of these veterans that we've looked at who has had time in the LCS, just because they're a little bit older, they've had their chance in the LCS, doesn't mean that they can't make their way back, right? And I feel like these two players are prime examples of saying, you still have time to learn. It's about the attitude. It's about your ability to continue getting better rather than just stagnating. And both these guys, perfect opportunities to try and move their way up into the LCS again.
Now let's open that bottom lane conversation a little bit more, because we were putting a big spotlight on this bottom lane, and we didn't get much for the game itself, focusing on that bottom lane until the very end, at least. But for Wixie Busio, right, we did laud these two for being the Zoomer bot lane, being the guys that are making waves in Academy. It was not so in that game specifically, and trying to dial that in a little bit more for game 2 is where I'm looking at for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, less a cannonball and more a sleek dive under the water, right? Not making a whole lot of ripples this time coming through. And I feel like, to their credit, Busio was one of the players that was trying to actually make things happen this game. Like, we saw him go for a couple of these hooks. We saw him go for a couple engages. Unfortunately, not quite landing all of them, but the fact that he's trying to go for them is something that we would typically be expecting from some of our more veteran players, right? The Kenvi, the Gamsu, the Jimyeon, who have had a lot more time playing, but right now it's been Busio, the rookie, who has been stepping up. And I think there's a lot more to be said that if 100 Thieves can like pivot towards one of these people who are clearly trying to do things, I think they have an opportunity to try and swing back in the second half of our series.
Yeah, I expect them to put a lot more focus, at least in the draft priorities, in that bottom lane this time, right? Even though we got the picks pretty heavily early, it's more so about what they're grabbing and the strategy they're kind of approaching for, right? And also looking at the rest of the composition a little bit more so. Obviously, getting the aggressive jungler is key in the early parts of the game, but the Mordekaiser not having the success you would want on the top side of the map, the mid lane being a little bit maybe more volatile than you would want for the victor to be. But looking into those kinds of things to shore up the bottom lane could be an interesting approach.
Yeah, and as we start paying a bit more attention to the mid lane and kind of looking at how Ryoma and Jimmy were playing, they were playing a very low health lane, which is not nearly as common at this level of play, right? You don't tend to see both laners just being willing to slug it out, and just if it's unclear, like a low health lane, we saw last game with Darshan going up against Concept, or in our previous series, and this time with like Ryoma Jimian, where you put yourself in a spot where you are trying to find a very quick kill. You allow yourself to just bring in the jungler and find a very quick and decisive advantage, but both players kind of have to opt into that.
That is the question, though. Who is opting into what in the second game? Because both teams opted into a lot of nothing for the first 10 minutes of the game, and both junglers opting into full clears.
Chime tried.
Hey, all right. To some extent, I'll take that. But overall, right, do we see that change up? Because Iconic has been known to be a bit aggressive in the past. Kenvi has been known to be aggressive in the past, but it's all about the play style that both teams are kind of bringing to the table today and seeming to be matching each other a little bit in that approach. But I do hear we are ready for Champ Select. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty and see what those strategies are going to be unfolding for us, Joshi.
Yeah, and we do know that the two teams are going to be swapping sides, 100 Thieves on the blue side and Golden Guardians on the red side this time around. So that will change a little bit of how the pick and ban goes, because Tony Top will have counter pick instead of Gamsu, and of course, R3 will allow Golden Guardians to try and pick something and then protect it, depending on how they want to try and draft early on in this game. And so I'm not expecting a whole lot of differences. I'm not expecting a repeat performance of the Mordekaiser, which was, I was excited that it got played, but not super excited that, on how it was actually piloted this time. It feels like 100 Thieves are just waiting for things to happen a lot of the time, and Mordekaiser unfortunately doesn't help with that.
Why is Caitlyn still banned? Why is Caitlyn still a priority banned here?
Dude, I'm with you, man.
Why?
I don't think Caitlyn is that good.
It's a free ban. We don't need to ban Caitlyn anymore. Anyways. We're just going to keep going. 100 Thieves there on the blue side, ban away the Volley Bear as well as the Aphelios on top of that. Caitlyn, the Lee Sin, and Ryze ban away by Golden Guardians.
Makes a lot of sense, and while they have the longest 0 seconds there at the very end for Golden Guardians, it is going to be the Zeri going over to 100 Thieves. Nothing very surprising. Likely a Jinx picked up here for Golden Guardians, and again, do you feel better now that instead of Jinx Aphelios, it's Zeri Jinx, or is that worse?
I always love Zeri. The fact that her ultimate is called Lightning Crash, and then she has the Ultra Shock Laser, like, I just want to say those abilities, so bring it on. Also, the play is fun, right? Like, it's always about the dive in, dive out kind of style, and seeing the difference of the Jinx, who is just going to stand there and pelt rockets into your face that you can't run away from. It's going to be really interesting. Do get the same jungle matchup, though. This time, 100 Thieves level up in their composition. They get the Yuumi.
This is almost exactly the draft from what we were seeing when Cloud9 was blue side in our previous series, right? Zeri, Hecarim, Yuumi, first 3 picks on the red side, and I think there was an Aphelios coming out on the red side, but still, like, Jinx, Viego, Nautilus, we are going right on back, and to use a chess analogy, when you get the exact same openings, you gotta ask, like, where's the wrinkle coming through? What's going to be different this time? How are you going to throw your opponents off a little bit, or are you just going to be going stock standard for the rest of the draft?
I was interested that Golden Guardians didn't go with the Thresh for Chime, right? And they do opt into the Nautilus instead, seeing teams obviously put a ton of priority on that Nautilus pick, the double engage, the lasting CC with the depth charge and everything like that on top of it. So we got the first 3 for Golden Guardians as well. Picking up that Viego again can be very crucial in the team fight resets with the Jinx, the double reset composition already. but the Akali banned away by them in the second phase.
Yeah, I mean, oh, true. If the Ahri were to come through for Golden Guardians, it would be so similar to what we saw from Immortals, right? And, going up against Cloud9.
Yep.
So we'll see what they choose to do, because right now, Nautilus, I'm not convinced is a super strong support in general, but you do need point-and-click crowd control in order to try and deal with Zeri. You need something kind of guaranteed to make sure you get a lockdown so you can actually try and follow it up. And Nautilus might be best in class for guaranteeing that you will actually get some crowd control on a single target.
Yeah, and the engages are going to be a lot easier, I feel like, to pull off for Chime than in the set game. See, last game was all about like making sure his mechanics were good. He's like, okay, I have to play this set. I need to like be able to move around and like dissect the team fights a little bit. This time, it's just not. Just throw out the anchor and see what you get.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We're mixing it up. Okay, so it was Syndra last time for Cloud9, and then it was Ahri for Immortals. I wonder if we're going to get the exact same thing. Oh, this is a throwback. Pastry Time actually also made a tweet about this fairly recently where he was like, I think Syndra Orianna is the most played matchup in North American competitive ever, right? And he's made the claim, I don't remember specifically for mid lane, but there is one matchup that is more common than Syndra Orianna between all the lanes. Do you have any idea what it could be?
Could it be Victor Corky?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
All right. Well, I'm out of guesses. That's all I have.
It is Rek'Sai Gragas is the single most played matchup of all time in North American competitive. Syndra Orianna at about 20 fewer games, but we are seeing the Jace as well come out for Gamsu.
That's
something he has specialized in.
Yeah, it's like literally his bread and butter here in Academy, it seems like. And it is terrifying to go up against. Want to know what the pick is into it, though, right? You don't have the typical picks. We have seen such a drop in priority for the Gwyn's, and obviously in this situation would be getting a counter picked into, so definitely don't want that one. This is another thing we've been seeing rise in Academy as well in the Wukong, and it's locked in.
The monkey coming through. Right, and it's a very similar thing as we were seeing previously. Both Nara and Jace really struggle up against top laners that can get on top of them and stay on top of them. And Wukong is pretty darn good at that, right? You are going to be able to try and navigate around in a thundering blow. The Jace's hammer is on such a low cooldown. So I really like this coming out from Tony Top. They will be having a lot of opportunities to be aggressive, and I feel like we are hopefully in for a little bit of fireworks, because, you know, I enjoy watching the controlled games as a bit of a treat now and then, but that was slow, and it's not the Golden Guardians I know and love.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. This one is more so looking at that first 15, 20 minutes and making sure there's something to be spoken of there. But I do want to break down some of these matchups, right? We saw last time around the jungle matchup, very boring. It was literally just herbivores going at it in Kenby versus Iconic. I'm going to be straight up. So I do wonder if we get an adaptation of that. That's what I love about the compositions right now in League of Legends is it can look the same on paper, but it's all about strategy, execution in the game, and see if any uptick in aggression can change things, right? When we're looking at Golden Guardians Academy squad for this one, it does need that uptick in aggression, it feels like. And you do want to get Tony Top at least something going up there, because Gamsu bringing into the later parts of the game with those huge accelerated shock blasts to set up objectives, that's not something you want to do.
Yeah. And so, you know, as you start looking for these opportunities to throw the wrinkles, go for something a little bit different than what we saw last time, right? Busio on the Yuumi, not very likely to be that person. He's not necessarily going to be the one who's going to be making the plays all on his own. But Chime, Passenger, true. He can run around on Kenvi, but Chime can do it on his own.
Yeah, and we saw he did it on his own last time too on the set, and it was very telling that, you know, a lot of that engaged priority does come from Chime in these situations. A lot of the same on the Nautilus this time around. But I want to also, you know, circle back to the matchup, at least in the mid lane, where we were saying maybe there's a little bit of volatility happening there that we wouldn't necessarily fully expect. Do we get a little bit of the save this time, since we are changing up that matchup? Still both like control mages in the mid lane.
I wouldn't be super surprised, but I also like small thing from Golden Guardians here by Ryoma pushing forward first. If Jimin had been there, typically they give ground and it allows the rest of your team to get into these brushes without them knowing, but Gamsu... Oh,
that's a flash from Chime and a flash from Gamsu. You take that all day.
Yeah, super happy to take that. Jace without flash, huge target on his back for the jungler, for the enemy top laner. I'm really excited to see how they are going to be able to play this one. And you get to see, you know, already the pings coming out in the chat. Hex flash, Oracle's Lens.
Yep. Because you know what the focus is, at least. And I will say, just heads up play from Chime there, knowing that, in the way that setup has been prior, Gamsu will be alone in that situation and trying to force out as much as he can early to set Tony Top up better, at least, than he was last game. And especially because this matchup is not a wet noodle fight like we saw last time. These both have a potential to carry the game.
True. These are dry noodles. Right.
How do you hit people with
my
dry
God,
noodles?
just going right away.
I don't know if I ever want to hear it. Busio, go home. Go to your partner.
Go home. Get on Wixie.
Just go.
Help.
I know the skin is cool. I know bees are a good thing, but jeez.
Oh, man. Okay, very, very scary stuff coming through for Busio. He definitely needs to stay off at some point to heal himself instead of healing up Wixie, as we are seeing his HP mostly returning to normalcy. But, man, the kind of early aggression already coming out from Chime is really exciting to see, punishing these small missteps for Busio. And he's still looking to do it, right? Look at the angles he's going for.
And, again, one of our... Ooh. And he actually still gets... I was going to start talking about Chime, but they get a little bit of damage onto Wixie and Busio, at least trying to burn Busio's mana as much as they can. The wave in a bit of an awkward state, though.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world for Golden Guardians, and we know that Chime is likely going to continue looking for this aggression, right? And as Busio starts putting points into his E and starts using it more, because it is a % of your maximum mana on top of like a hefty base cost already, Busio does not have a whole lot of mana to play with, and it will slowly disappear over the next couple of trades. Whereas Chime, his mana costs aren't super low, but they're not super high either. It gives you a lot of opportunity to be aggressive and just continue to make Yuumi more and more useless by taking away her ability to do anything.
And I gotta do a check-in real quick, because Gamsu is just putting on the pressure on Tony Top up here. Tony Top had 6 CS until that wave crashed onto him. Now see Tony Top taking a little bit of aggression in his own right, but still in a bit of a precarious position as Ryoma maybe looking for a bit of a roam.
True. I mean, remember, there's no flash on this Jace for about 2.5 more minutes, and Tony Top, this is when the matchup oftentimes comes alive, right? And your ability to go for a lot of these aggressive plays. Because before that, you are still melee versus ranged. You need to have the ability to go in and actually take a fight rather than just go like, aha! Oh, now you're walking away from me in a straight line? Darn.
I've never heard more enthusiasm before, Joshi. That's great.
I mean, it is the secret tech. The most important thing you can do in League of Legends is 1, be ranged, and 2, walk away from melee champions in a straight line so that they cannot hit you anymore. And if you can do both of those things, you're going to have a good time.
When I was growing up, they just told me to pull out the snake maneuver. Like, you just run back and forth over
Serpentine.
and over again. Serpentine. Busio needs the Serpentine. Get out of there, man. Get out of there. Chime needs to get out of there, though. He's not dead yet. Nobody killed him. Finally, Kinby gets first blood for 100 Thieves.
But it took a long time, right? We got to see the fact that Chime's still looking for all these angles, but Busio, with both summoner spells, able to keep himself alive in that last fight. Not super flashy, but Yuumi doing her job.
And I believe we will have a replay of that engage. Chime starting it off, but Kenby coming to knock it down.
Yeah, I mean, you just get to see that with the exhaust getting put down onto Violet, there's no more damage coming through. There's no way for Violet to actually kill the cat, but at the same time, we're seeing potential trade top lane. No flash.
Dive trying to be committed. Gamsu doesn't have a lot of mana here. Power shots will start coming in. Iconic does have to flash, but they get the return kill.
And still no flash on Gamsu means that there wasn't a whole lot of outplay potential there, but Jimian might be able to crash this wave. Already has a small CS lead in the mid lane and is going to be extending that a little bit further. So the gold remains relatively even, but the game is a lot more variable already. 2 kills at the 5-minute mark. This is not what we were seeing last game.
It is not, and I will take it because it's a bit refreshing, at least to some extent. No dragon priority early on, at least, as both, or at least one side of the matchup can be heading towards the top side of the map. We'll wonder, though, is the Infernal Dragon, so 1 dragon priority might increase just a tiny little bit, but can be towards this top side, trying to spot out if maybe Iconic is up there, but will not see them.
Not going to have an opportunity to spot out Iconic because Iconic's on the other side of the map, and with neither junglers showing recently, it's going to be a little bit harder for either side to go for the jungle. You don't want to take a fight where your opponents just have more people. Golden Guardians, we've been seeing Chime trying to be very aggressive in this lane, punish the Yuumi and make sure that the Yuumi does not get to scale later on into the game. Unfortunately, 100 Thieves were a little bit better at responding to it than Golden Guardians have been to actually making it happen in the first place. So we have to ask, where is Chime going to be going next? He's going to continue trying to punish this cat, or is he going to be trying to move up towards the mid lane, potentially help out Ryoma again in this relatively standard matchup?
And that's another big difference that we're seeing in this second game comparatively to the first. Chime got off a level 2 roam to mid lane last time around. He hasn't really been able to get out of the map and really have that same kind of early game impact. But a lot of time for that to still be so, as you did see a hover from both junglers around mid lane, though, but both returning to the respective herbivore play style. And at least that stays the same, I guess. Not to my happiness, but.
True. But we're also seeing Tony Top is really starting to come alive at this point, right? The amount of damage he can do to Jace in these quick bursts means that he only needs to do that a couple of times before Jace is at risk of dying from some of those all-ins. And Tony Top, now that he has access to the ultimate, Jace doesn't have one. So it's very difficult for him to do anything during a lot of these trades back and forth. And it's going to be all Tony Top for a little while at this top lane.
It is indeed, and perfect timing for it too, because we have Rift Herald in about 30 seconds, as well as Iconic's pathing leading to that perfectly, and the vision game for Golden Guardians. Maybe it's all part of the plan, who knows? But you know what they say about plans. Best laid plans of mice and men and all that. It is the
wow.
What?
That's an old reference. That's an old reference. I mean, at this point, like, you're what, I don't even know what that generation is called. Silent generation? Like, that was the 1910s.
Jeez, I don't know. I don't want to be a part of that. I took the wording, the quote. I'm sorry.
I know. It's a good quote. But, you know, just like Lenny, it could be a tough road ahead for this team, as Golden Guardians are going to be hitting this with Kenvi on the far side of the map. He is going to be showing, and I wonder if we're going back to Tradesville once again.
All right, you got your trading cards out. You got your booster packs, everything ready. You got your water for the day, making sure everybody's good to go.
True.
All right, cool.
So we're gonna win this one.
So let's see. Today I got Iconic Rift Herald. Do you want to dragon for it? Do you just want to kind of walk around bottom lane for it? Like, what do you want here, Joshi?
You know, I think I'm going to walk around bottom lane.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll trade that. That's an easy trade for me. I'll go ahead and do that.
You know, on second thought, can I retract that?
No, I mean, we don't go backsies. We don't go backsies.
No backsies.
Come on. And now Iconic is heading down to this bot side. Kenvi taking so long. He was at the blue buff originally, walked all the way around, now is doing the blue buff, and might just get out of dodge with it for free because Iconic started his wolves, expecting the blue buff to be gone already.
I mean, say if I was Iconic, I would have expected the blue buff to have been gone as well. So 100 Thieves are going to get a little something, but the Rift Herald goes down and the CS remains even between these two teams. And Kenvi still spotted out, and Violet showing. It's like, yep, we know you're there. Please leave. Please go away.
Go away now. We don't want to see you. Still.
Yeah. That's what we normally say to Mark.
Oh, but I miss
Elder Mark.
But I miss Mark.
You do.
Wixie almost gets grabbed, but Lightning Crash, final chapter. Violet has the flash. He's trying to give him a nice welcome here in the second game, but won't find the connection. Still, you see the damage and the scariness that Zeri can have when you can't connect any CC on her.
Zeri the carry is still scary, and now 100 Thieves moving down. They're going to be getting a couple of plates here, and Wixie Busio, this is a scary combination and a potent pair of players to be giving it to as well. But Iconic going to be getting a little bit of comeuppance on the far side of the map, going to be grabbing this blue buff and potentially looking for a gank onto Gamsu, but Gamsu looking to gank Iconic.
I got really excited because I thought maybe Akshan made it into this game somehow, but we did not have him.
Sorry.
You bait me with the names. I'm a play-by-play. Come on, that's all I know. There's one thing I know, it's ability names. But in all actuality, right, that top lane not going to come to anything as Iconic. Just going for that early invade. No drag. I'm surprised at this point that the amount of bodies and positioning they had in bottom lane, 100 Thieves didn't get the dragon early, but that just shows where the priority lies for both these teams. They do not want to risk anything. They want to make it to the late game where it really matters.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen most of, and I listened to most of these players in Champs Queue at this point. So I know, you know, what Tony Top talks like. He tends to be a fairly quiet guy, right? Iconic, again, you know, he's one of those junglers where you can kind of shot call around pretty often to say, hey, I want you to come to my lane. Ryoma, very vocal. Chime, very vocal. I actually don't know what Violet sounds like. right? As somebody who just like has not played very many Champs Q games, it's something where he's again like, you know, we know what he used to be like when he was on Peace, but Peace was a very, very aggressive team. Golden Guardians were an aggressive team, but it looks like a lot of it had to do with Stixay and his aggression, trying to find all these opportunities for fights. And Violet, I wonder if he's still just like integrating into the team because we know he wasn't scrimming with them, or if this is just how he always wanted to play in the first place.
Time will tell. Oh no, the track it resets and it brings Golden Guardians into a little bit closer proximity here. Blocking the way to the exit. They're focusing on Jimmy, and as Depth Charge goes through, nobody can get to him here. They're engaging. Mega Death Rocket, Lightning Crash over the wall, but still Golden Guardians might be able to find it with Violet over the wall. They already find 2 back, though, and that's a double kill for Wixie, making a triple kill as he gets killed in the end, a shutdown to Ryoma. But it's a big turnaround, and again, tradesies.
Tradesies, back and forth, back and forth. It is the Dragon going over to 100 Thieves, and Kenvi, I don't think, he's not quite fast enough to get his way onto Violet, but Violet walking back up. He knows he needs to get this wave under. He does not want to let this freeze build up on the far side of the map for Wixie when he comes back, but also props to 100 Thieves, right? We know Yumi's area is really scary, and as we get to see the second part of the fight, because Golden Guardians just go right over here, everybody on 100 Thieves can join over the wall, whereas Violet can't really. And so Wixie, as he jumps over, is going to be getting these piercing shots through the entire team, able to take everybody down, and unfortunately just missing out on a little bit of HP as the Q with the Airy coming through actually being enough to take him down.
Indeed, and back in live, Rift Herald was summoned up by Iconic as the timer was coming down, but Jimmy in trouble in mid lane. Got a little bit of honey there to help you out, though, and the honey makes him slick. But you know who's slick himself is Ryoma.
Yeah, 4 kills, every single kill for Golden Guardians already on the Oceanic mid laner, looking to prove that he deserves a spot going back up to the top. Tommy Lee looking for more opportunities. He's going to be getting a plate here in the mid lane as the rest of Golden Guardians going to be creating a lot of safety for him on the bottom side of the map. And
There we go. Wixie with the little move, though. And this is the kind of stuff I've been seeing a lot of recently in competitive for ADCs, is the aggression coming out. Love to see a little bit of it coming out from Violet as well.
Yeah, when you know you just win the auto attack trade, it's very, very good to watch AD carries be like, oh, you can't do that, and just continue walking forward. And once Wixie is in a bit of a rough spot, the Gale Force comes through, and if the rocket hits, it was very close. I don't know if it would have killed, but it definitely would have forced a little bit more out of Wixie, because you saw that even with that dodge coming through, he was in a spot where he might have gone down if Violet was willing to continue chasing. So, as the game continues, remaining in a relatively even spot, last time it was Golden Guardians who had the Orianna, who had the Jinx to rely on for scaling. But this time, it's not that simple. Jay scales very well into the game now, as he just has insane ratios on all of his abilities. Zeri doesn't have a ton of things that she's super threatened by, because Ryoma isn't always going to be in a range to actually hit, and there's not necessarily a whole lot of follow-up to what Chime is doing, as they have to get through multiple members of 100 Thieves to even get there. So it is going to be a little bit more difficult for Golden Guardians to navigate these later game team fights.
Indeed, and I am so excited for it just because we saw how explosive those team fights could be in terms of just ending the game outright, and especially like having that turnaround. And I think the fact that, you know, we see Iconic going for the second Rift Herald of the game while the trade is going on the bottom side is still in trend with what we have going on in this series so far, just trading back and forth. The last Rift Herald not utilized to its best extent from Iconic, so I'm looking for this second one to actually be able to break some of this base structure from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves always looking for these opportunities, and as another Rift Herald goes over to Golden Guardians, we've been seeing that they have gotten most of the things on the map that they've been looking for, right? The constant trading back and forth. There's just opportunities for them to have these small leads, but nothing has been breaking open. And I wonder if this is just Golden Guardians, again, just being very confident in their ability to play later on in the game. I wonder if it's them now firmly in the top of the standings and definitely not needing to go towards the sudden death round for the first round of Proving Grounds. If they're trying to show and test out multiple different styles, right? We know that they often play with Chime moving around. We know that they often play very aggressively in the bottom quadrant of the map, where Stixay and Chime will try and create a lot of plays. But I think this is partly, you know, Violet coming in and having a different style and a different communication, but also I think part of it is them wanting to show that they are not just that style of play, right? If you can practice different strategies on stage, it's very different than doing it in scrims.
It absolutely is. I would hope it would be as well.
Oh, yeah.
As we do have Chime coming to the top side up here, starting to get on a little bit of the timers with the rest of the team. We still see pings coming in from Golden Guardians towards this dragon, right? Spawning about 15 seconds. They'll look to keep priority mid. Maybe even catch Wixie with the max raise dredge line. We still see Kenby coming in, though, with the devastating charge. Onslaught of Shadows. Ryoma tanked up the tower and died because of it. Again, trades. That's all. That's it. That's where we live. It's just Tradeville.
Yeah. But it's a big shutdown on a couple of crucial ultimates used by the members of Golden Guardians. So it looks like it might be another trade, as the dragon is likely to be traded for this top lane turret. But again, Chime looking for all these opportunities, finding the max range hook. I didn't even think it was going to hit, but that's a lollipop if we've ever seen it. Golden Guardians now dropping the Rift Herald to get another turret up here in the top lane for the dragon, and a 2-for-1 bargain sale.
I'd say it's a better trade for Golden Guardians here, as second dragon will be secured. 400 Thieves. They do lose their tier 2 in the top side, leaving more pressure to Tony top. But it's still something to be dealt with later on.
Yeah, that's a problem for later 100 Thieves,
yeah, that's
right?
future 100 Thieves' problem. We don't need to deal with that now. Present 100 Thieves is thinking in the moment.
Yeah, and present 100 Thieves is giving up the mid lane turret as well, because present Golden Guardians are very happy. Yeah, I don't know. Again, pretty bad trade deal. We'll see what else they try and pick up, because this was also, again, very similar to what we saw in Game 1 of this series, right? Golden Guardians found like 1 or 2 spots where they were able to get a 2-for-0 trade, or just the ability to get more objectives than their opponent, and it gave them enough of a lead that they were confident just taking a lot of these fights. And now Ryoma,
he's stacking it up. Power Unleashed comes out,
bang,
and Jimian goes down.
Outplayed. And if anybody is ever confused why pros continue to play the Syndra, that is exactly why, right? They wait in a bush, they take control of Fog of War, and if anybody steps too close, they're gone.
The UI changes when you play Syndra. It changes to, instead of having R, it's just called the outplay button.
Yeah. I would like to win, please, and you press it, and suddenly you win that fight. And when you are this far ahead, I mean, he can probably even start looking to do it towards Kenvi, right? With the amount of damage that he's going to be doing. And as they start moving in, they might try and do just that.
Iconic will see the red buff. It is taken by Kenvi, though, so he's able to secure his jungle a little bit more. Kenvi looking for the re-engage, but they have Ryoma on the bottom side, so 100 Thieves rightfully pull away if Golden Guardians show up in force and take the last outer tower.
Yep, another uncontested objective, and Golden Guardians are done trading, but Chime needs to get out.
Still got to watch
for
Violet,
goes in.
Though. I was going to say, it's Kenvi who needs to watch out. Lightning Crash from Wixie, though. They've already found Iconic. He can't get the Heartbreaker out, but Violet is still free hitting away here as well. Tony Top with that big Cyclone on the engage. Dies anyways, though, because the rest of Golden Guardians can't catch up to him. Ryoma with the Power Unleashed pull onto Kenvi. A lot of the health healed back immediately by Busio, and 100 Thieves' sustained game is strong.
Yeah, and we also get to see, right, Golden Guardians as a team aren't necessarily that strong. It's Ryoma who is strong. Kenvi still looking to run in.
That's so good for Kenvi to wait just that little extra longer. Know that they'll feel good and steal the blue buff.
Nice, thank you for that. Gonna get a little bit on back, but the gold is still so even between these two teams. Less than 1,000 gold lead in favor of Golden Guardians, but they were a little bit more than that. It was, it was about 2 a little bit before that fight actually happens. But this is one of those situations where Golden Guardians taken a little bit by surprise because of the speed of 100 Thieves composition.
100 Thieves do still have a lot to be scared of, at least in terms of like the single target damage, though. I would say the reset city is definitely what they're watching out for. Maybe a little bit of that, extra care going into extending on fights, but it still shows that, Wixie and Busio, this combo of the Yuumi Zeri plus Kenvi on the Hecarim is they can catch people out easy. They can catch Violet out easy, and the turnarounds are so quick off of that, as you were kind of saying, is the next 5 minutes or so, I feel like, even though we've been getting a lot of trades, we'll still end up in big ways, one or the other, right? We have a minute and a half till the next dragon. Baron is on the table. The trades are going to start lending to more than just trading.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be very fast one way or another, right? These team fights are not going to be something that are going to be close. It is going to be a situation where teams are very likely to blow the other out rather than do anything. In Ryoma, we've seen this play before. I've seen this movie previously. And Tony Top.
Speaking of seeing them before, double cyclone, shockwave don't matter. Jimmy dies.
Doesn't matter what side of the map you're on, it's going to be the exact same thing. And Ryoma, man, that is so funny. Tony Top was doing it in top lane. Ryoma was doing it in the bottom lane. And if anybody comes forward, look at the fact that Ryoma let the wave go so far past him before he goes back to actually try and pick up the minions. But Jimmy, at the very least, is going to be here for the Dragon. So a kill getting picked up by Tony is nice, but missing out on the Shockwave and missing out on the Cyclone, I think might be a bit more impactful because Jimmy, his ultimate comes up way faster.
It really does. I just think it's funny. You typically look at the Rises picks right now in the meta, and especially the commonality of the 1-3-1. No, just pick Syndra and win the game early. Then you can 1-3-1 easy. She's a side lane champion.
Easy. Yeah. She's got most of her add-ons completed, so, you know, she's able to do quite a bit. But I like this from 100 Thieves. They're not necessarily looking to contest the Dragon. They already have 2 of their own. Instead, they're going to try and get a bit of another trade going on. Crazy how things continues going through every single game. Golden Guardians also need to check. Is there a Baron happening? No, there is not. Super Mega Death Rocket just flies on through. And now, Mizzell, you know, we spent a lot of time conjecturing and positing about how Golden Guardians are going to play. If 100 Thieves win this game, where do you think it's going to be?
That is a good question.
Like, who's going to do it?
I think it's going to be Wixie. I think it's going to be Wixie all the way. Yep. I think we've already seen some semblances to Wixie really wanting to have that blowout performance here in the early aggression we've seen from him. And I think, obviously, after last game, he's going to be wanting a little bit of that back. Come on. You can't be an ADC that's played all of Academy and see Violet come in across from you and not want to put him down.
True, right. Whenever somebody new is just like, oh, new kid on the block, oh, we can't handle this. But I agree. I think it's going to be Wixie. And he's been one of the players. Both Jimmy and Wixie have had some great defensive play throughout this Academy season. But that also means, like, if you want to play defensively, that generally means that Golden Guardians are going to be looking for an opportunity. And Chime has been very aggressive thus far, looking for his opportunities to make plays. But as you said, like Wixie, he's got kites. He's got the Zoomy shoes. He's Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow.
I like how all the different references, but I love the last one the most.
Ka-chow.
I'm just imagining him doing the ka-chow.
Dude, if Wixie can do that for me,
please get that as a video, 100 Thieves, if you're watching this, please. Violet is completely caught out here. Has to use the Gale Force away. The Phantom Dancer will help him survive a little bit, though. Onslaught of Shadows making sure that's harder to do. And Gamsu with the slam down for 100 Thieves. See if Iconic can make it out, though. Devastating charge from Kevy. They're just too sustained. And Wixie's been free this entire time.
Wixie ka-chow.
Ryoma, and the ka-chow's coming through for 100 Thieves. Chime, the only one left for Golden Guardians, but he will be run down by the horse-cat combo of 100 Thieves themselves. Chime is trying his darndest to buy time, but you see the pings for 100 Thieves, and it's on to the Baron.
Yeah, that fight wasn't even close, right? That's kind of what we were saying. These two teams, one of them is going to blow out the other, and this time it's 100 Thieves finding Violet in a place where he's not allowed to be, and Kenvi saying, I think this guy's too far forward. We know where most of his team is. They're in the bottom side jungle. If we can get on top of them, then it will be enough. And so Violet, left with no winning options, ends up kiting directly in Gamsu. And then once your DPS is gone, remember the only strong member is Ryoma. Tries to take down Kenvi, but he doesn't have any damage either. And once he's left in the middle of too many Thieves, in fact, 4 of them, not 100, but it is enough to take him down, find another shutdown, and 100 Thieves now in firm control of the game.
And maybe a little bit of that newness coming back to buy Violet. The mispositioning there for sure. Gonna want to have that one back for the Golden Guardians ADC. It's just the first series, so you got a lot of time to build those synergies. As maybe not a lot of time, maybe this week.
Yeah, you have a week.
You got a week, kid. But it's still all about this aggression, and Kenvi going all in onto Violet yet again. He gets out with the blast cone, but on the other side, you got Wixie, who's taking up the flank, and Violet dies first. The rest of the team is just getting snowballed now. And exactly what we were talking about. The snowballs coming through. The late game fights mean so much more. There's no more trading. There's just thieving.
It feels like Kenvi has woken up from a long hibernation, right? He's looking for these angles. He's going for it. He's being aggressive in ways we haven't seen for so much of the season. And by making these plays, he makes everybody else feel so much better about what it is that they can do. And as this inhibitor goes down, it should be even more than that. Tony Top not able to respond, as I think this should be 2 inhibs for 100 Thieves.
That's a huge pressure build-up for 100 Thieves as they do take that second inhib. Top lane not going to be pushing in their favor, but now they can push back, potentially get resets off, and get back onto the map for Dragon, get themselves Soul Point.
Yeah, great stuff coming through. By the fact that 100 Thieves are able to do this fast enough means that not only are both inhibitors down, but as you said, they're back on the map. They're so fast, and they can clean out all of these side lanes. They can make sure that things are going to be pushing for them after the fight happens. And if that is going to be true, they should be strong enough to end the game now that the inhibitors are actually gone. So it wasn't Wixie that really stepped up, though he did have a good fight. It was Kenvi who's just like, we are going now.
And that's all you need. When he says go, you follow. Wixie goes
Do they
over the
know?
wall. No, I don't think they do, but Wixie...
Okay, they know
the
now.
Spidey senses were tingling, and he makes it out alive there to keep pushing that wave. That's still scary because Ryoma, as we've seen, has been blowing people up with that outplay button.
We'll see if he can do it right. He tried to do it to Kenvi. He's tried to do it to Kenvi twice. Neither time it was successful. But now, I mean, he's hiding in a bush, and this is where the scare factor comes in.
Wixie with a nice dodge out, lightning crash out as well. Depth charge goes through, but Kenvi on the flank, final chapter, devastating charge. He got everything. Wombo combo. 100 Thieves wipe the floor with Golden Guardian.
100 Thieves, again, like this game looks so similar to the last one, right? It was just a difference of which team was able to find the fights when they need to, and it's all Thieves all the time this time coming through. Tony, miracle-based defense notwithstanding, is going to end up having to fall.
Joshi, what do? It's all red and black.
It's all red.
It's all 100 Thieves.
It's all
They
gone.
find everything they could ever ask for in this second game. They will tie up this series 1-1 in their first series of Super Week number 8 in the Academy split. What a series to go back and forth. It felt like a little bit of a copy pasta going to that second game, but it did not end the same. Well, I guess kind of.
We saw a lot of flip-flopping throughout our series so far today, right?
Trades.
One team does something, and then the next game, the other team does the same thing back to them. And now, because 100 Thieves went 1-1, they are realistically in a spot where they're likely still to be tied for 6, and it just means that their next couple of series are going to matter a lot more. Golden Guardians, I mean, again, they are 6 games ahead. They are secured in their ability to actually go for 6. But because 100 Thieves still 1-1, likely going to have to play for their lives for their 6th place ability and to skip the first round of Proving Grounds up against Dignitas on Friday. So a lot of tension building already in this last week.
There really is. And there was a decent amount of tension in that series as well. It's so interesting to see the beginnings of those games and then the consecutive team fights by both respective teams in game 1 and 2 to come out on top, right? It was just snowballing from the 20-minute mark pretty much for both sides. And I think it shows a lot of the style that both these teams want to go for. Obviously, first time Violet is on the rift there for Golden Guardians Academy, trying to get him some reps in on the season as well. And it all comes down to, still a lot of questions to be raised for both teams.
We'll see how they choose to answer them in the next couple of days, right? There's still 4 more games for all these teams to play, and some of them still have 6 games left to play before they go directly to Proving Grounds. And remember, there's no playoffs between now and Proving Grounds. Proving Grounds is the playoffs where you have to go up against all these amateur teams. And if they start playing like this, when they have these good games, if they can continue that form, they should continue showing why they're the Academy roster.
They should indeed. We'll see how it all pans out for them in the future, though. But for now, we're going to sit to a little break while we get ready for our 3rd series of the day. So don't touch that browser.
1v1 Me, the show where I put 2 pros against each other to see who can win in a best of 5 while in the hot seat answering questions. For episode 1, I have none other than Team Liquid Academy Armeo and Evil Geniuses Academy Tomio to kick it off. And I'm excited because I hear that you two have a pretty spicy relationship. Armeo, episode 1, are you feeling pressured?
No. I think I'm superior. So it should be fine.
Tomio, can you confirm or deny, do you only play Annie mid lane?
See, I love Annie. See somebody on my team that I don't like, maybe I pick Annie jungle.
Let's hop into the first 1v1 and get things underway.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, man? Why do you skill W, bro?
What is wrong with you?
All right, but I do have to say, Tomio, you're in the hot seat, so that means that you're going to be asked questions. First question, I'm going to throw you an easy one. What's your most played champion challengers queue so far?
Trying to think right now.
What in the minions?
I honestly forgot what champ I've been playing the most, but
What's your favorite champ to play right now, then? Just in
right
general.
now? I like playing something that's not meta in Champions Game. That's my favorite champ.
Ooh, that's a rough trade.
I like playing Evelyn. Actually, I've been spamming Evelyn the past day.
If you could change one of Evelyn's abilities to any other ability in the game, which ability would you change?
I'll change
This guy's basing, bro.
He's scared. He's in the hot seat right now. He's got to answer these questions.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to answer those questions.
All right, Armeo, do you have a question for Tomio?
No, I have no question. Are you in this?
All right, I'll keep him in the hot seat then. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I don't.
You're bro. You're bro.
Oh, the chase down. Oh no.
Yeah, bro. I'm totally dead here.
You're dead, bro. You know you're actually dead, boy.
Wait. Oh, it was close. All right, so round 2 has begun now. We got Armeo versus Tomio. At this time, Armeo is in the hot seat. What is the most embarrassing thing that you've ever done in a stage game?
I think I had some ints, honestly, recently. Dude, I'm getting hit on. I got hit by like no CC nearly spears against Kenvi. It was kind of cringe.
Tomio, can you confirm how easy it is to hit spears on Armeo?
No, he never hit spears on me, by the way.
No, it's pretty easy to hit spears.
He literally types to me and he says, "You're just trying to dodge my spears or something." The whole game is like what he types to me.
If somebody wrote a book about Tomio's pro career, what would be the title?
Loser's queue. Dude, there's no way we go to 50 CS on this one. I'm gonna win too easily. I want to kill this guy. But if we do go to 50 CS, I'll win easily. So I feel kind of bad, but.
Oh, is this it? This is it,
man. This guy's a bro.
Next thing, I don't use tower, bro.
Okay,
Use the tower.
You get the pick again. That you play more than me. I can't 3-0 you. It's too up. Even though technically I should choose, and I'm just gonna end you.
I'll choose.
Because I'll pick Vigar or something, and you definitely don't know how to play Vigar.
I know how to say that. I know how to say it.
And so this is rough for Tomio because you're down 2-0 and you're in the hot seat again.
I can talk and play. That's my comfort zone.
You're confident?
He's a streamer.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing you've ever heard a teammate say on comms?
Eating. Yes.
Like during an actual game,
yeah.
an official
Like a
game. They're
match.
eating?
Yeah.
What were they eating?
I think they're eating like a burger or pizza.
No.
Probably. It would probably be like.
Wait, actually, no. I changed my mind. Do Aatrox.
Oh, okay. It could be
Aatrox. This is a pick I'm well known for.
I was known for this champ.
You are not known for this champ.
All right, this is 1v1 number 4 now. Armeo, you're up.
Why would you take W, dude? You literally don't want to win the 1v1.
What's one champion name that you always mispronounce?
Like there's champs like Nasus. I don't know.
Nasus.
I don't know how to say it. Like, what's the correct way?
I believe it's Nasus. What's one champion that you wish was a jungler?
Aatrox, actually, I would like. That's just one off the top of my head because I'm playing it right now. I mean, this is over. I can play for the win or I can play for the fight. Like, I have to kill this guy, though.
So I'm going to ask you now, final question. What are you going to do after you win this 1v1?
Beat this guy in Champions queue?
He's got to go in.
Wait, this guy's good, actually. Oh my god, he's good.
Wait a minute. Oh my god. Tell me you can't, right? You can't.
No.
Oh
my god.
Oh?
Wait, I have pots. It's fine. Okay, I win.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now. It's so close. Oh, wait a minute.
No, man. He kills me.
Wait a minute.
No! I'm trolling. I just let him win.
1 CS away.
I just let him win, man. Why did I do that? Yeah, I don't know how to play this.
Wait a minute. Okay, I gotta ask a question for Tomio.
You're trolling so hard, man.
Tomio. Oh my god.
This guy's a bot, bro.
I could have ended it right there.
What's the first champ you ever played?
I remember I played Volibear. Actually, it was Volibear, and I used Surge Volibear.
All right, if you think you can end it here, I gotta ask you. So Armeo gave
I can end it here, baby.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh!
He's egoing.
For the first ever 1v1 me, it went the distance, Arveo. So as the first ever winner, what message do you have for all the doubters out there?
I'm the king of caster 1v1s. I'm actually well known for the champion.
Thomio, you couldn't quite clutch it out. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, right now, I don't have any thoughts right now. Well,
No thoughts.
I don't have any thoughts. No thoughts.
Either way, thank you both for coming by. It was awesome having you for the first ever episode of 1v1 Me. And yeah, good luck going into your next competitive matches, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.